Hey guys, welcome back. Trying a little bit of a different setting today, or tonight rather. So that's why I got the flash on. But it is the night before Thanksgiving. I believe it's called bar night. So everyone's at the bar. Uh, but I'm here making a video for you guys, so let's do it. So let's discuss whether, we're in a game, a simulation, a combination of these, or maybe neither. And I've been pondering this for a little bit as well. With the whole, maybe there's something that we played and we wiped our memories and essentially to forget the game, right? So as to fully be immersed in the game and not have any other distractions. But then how come we are slowly remembering it? How come we're slowly always questioning why we're supposed to be here? How come it doesn't even feel like we're supposed to be here, like we even really even chose, if we can say that? Because we did at some level potentially choose, but it was more of a coercion, right? So we're all sort of still trying to figure out why we're here and what we're here to even do, first of all, right? If it's a game, yeah, let's say it's evolving, but that doesn't make sense, like we've discussed, right? The whole learning lessons thing, when we're constantly forgetting and then constantly being recycled and going through it, doesn't explain the managers essentially of this game. Doesn't explain their intent, their motivations, and even you can say that it may have been hijacked. Well, okay, what is the object of the game? What is there to win if it was a game, right? We come in here, we fight for survival essentially by either living in poverty, like let's say 90% of the world. We won't even say 90%. We'll say 75% of the world is living in poverty, right? Whereas the others are essentially fighting through slavery, indentured servitude rather, being paid through debt slavery, right? To what? To accumulate a bunch of money, to get the house, get the wife, white picket fence, follow their passions, even whatever that may be. What is it that we're necessarily winning? Yes, I went to Earth and I was the most successful. Okay, fine. Let's say someone that was more spiritual. I was the most helpful and I helped so many people. But in what way were they helped? What did you help them do? Did you help them realize their true self? Or were you just helpful to them by, I don't know, providing loving acts, whatever, showing compassion, sure, reminding them of the goodness in people, right? Well, we could say that rather than it being a game for us, it could be more, whether it was created this way with intent this way or not, it could be more of a game for the angels and demons, or rather the angels of poverty and demons. Because how much of our will is really ours here, right? How much of our fate can we really control? How much action can we really have to influence a different destiny? At the end of the day, it's whether the angels are picking a side and the good is winning, or serving to balance out the evil, right? The yin and the yang, or the demons are winning and there's more and more chaos in the world. So it's kind of chaos versus order, right? Both not being able to exist without the other, because both lead to the other. Chaos will naturally lead into order, and order will naturally lead into chaos, because things change, things move, right? Just like in clouds, you can see shapes and patterns sometimes, but then the clouds keep moving and then it turns back into chaos, and then a new shape will form, right? It's the transformation of energy. It can never be created nor destroyed, it simply transforms, and some of it is lost to heat. Well, it's essentially what happens to us here when we come into this game. Our spirit powers this energy, but in order to power that energy, every time we become recycled, a little bit of that is potentially lost and washed in this system, serving the Ouroboros to potentially keep everything going. Now, who can say who's doing the winning, right? And who can say that there really is ever a winner in this game? There is more than likely a lot of evidence, right? We've seen all the evidence regarding the simulation theory by all the scientists of the holographic universe and how everything is basically shaped like a computer, right? Multiple dimensions of different subtleties, different vibrations, different energetic compositions that lead to a higher or lower density slash frequency, right? And these have been termed as the waters above and the fires below, or sorry, the waters above and the waters below, but I can also attribute them, and many others have attributed them to fire, a sort of fiery like realm that produces an artificial light compared to the actual spirit. So there could be multiple games running at the same time, sort of like servers in the game. Essentially, these different dimensions are all existing in the same game, or multiple games, multiple dimensions, multiple versions of the same game, but on different servers. So the server will be acting like a different dimension. Now, in order to go from server to server, you have to go from dimension to dimension, which I'm not sure how that works. It's a difference of frequency, right? You're kind of like Rick and Morty. Rick, I don't know, using a portal to travel to throughout the universe, and the universe being potentially analogous to the astrals. That's why it's called astrology, right? It's the study of the universe or the space around us, and a lot of people have compared space to waters. That's why when you look through a telescope, you can see a sort of shiny, glimmery, watery-like planet rather than an actual star or a physical planet. So essentially and potentially, when you traverse the spatial matrix, space-time matrix, you're traversing dimensions, you're switching servers. So for example, on Saturn, in comparison to Earth, a different but similar game could be happening. Now here, in this level of the astral, I've theorized that the reason that it's so dark and so traumatic is because the higher astrals are feeding off that higher positivity that is also created from the love happening here, from the goodness also happening here, and maybe other places, right? Because we are essentially being shaped from lead to gold. Our egos are being primed to elicit potentially the purest form of Lush, as described by Robert Monroe as love, or the false love, the eros, right? The good stuff, the candy-like, the sweetness. There's sweet and there's sour, right? The sour would be the negative. And in order to counterbalance the polarity of the highly hedonistic positivity in the, let's say, Asgard godly domains, there has to be a highly dense, toxic negativity. Where else but Earth, and potentially even I've only heard of one realm lower than Earth, and that is Tartarus, right? So this could be the lowest realm of the Dante's Purgatory, essentially. And from here on up, it goes to the astrals, the etheric realm than the astrals, right? So this game is essentially more horrific as in comparison to, let's say, other games throughout the universe, other simulations. And there are specific NDEs explaining this, of people that said, no, I don't want to go back to Earth. And no matter what, they tried convincing these people, right? They offered them power, glory, fame, riches, women, whatever. They didn't want to go. And then they finally said, oh, well, we'll put you on another planet. How about that? Where it's even easier. It's not as traumatic. It's more balanced. It's more harmonious, more peaceful. And then he actually considered that. But upon considering this, he started realizing through his intent of wondering and wanting to know that there was also a limited freedom even on these other planets, right? And even in the Law of One, it mentions other Earths maybe higher on the density levels. But again, these are all, in my opinion, traps, because they're all still simulations. They're not real. And I think the way this is done, if we think about water, how it reflects things, if you have layers of water like realms, right, they're acting like mirrors. And I think that's how the Demiurge essentially created all these lower realms. They just mirrored everything, or it just mirrored everything. Even in the Gnostic um, Gospel or Codex, the Apocryphon of John, it mentions the Demiurge first looking into the waters and seeing the reflection of the higher realms, the true realms, these ones, of Sophia. So he mimicked this. He created maybe another realm by through another mirror, through another layer of water. And if you think about it, the firmament is shielding us from the next layer of water, potentially, with the other layer of water below us, right? And the sky, they say, is reflecting the water below, right? The blue water below. But if you think about it, it goes darker. So the higher you go above the clouds, right, the darker the sky gets, to almost looking like space. And I thought about this, I'm like, okay, but then also the surface of the water also looks blue, light blue, but the deeper you go also looks darker. So I'm not sure how much these are correlated, but there seems to be a connection, right? So it starts as light blue and then it goes darker blue. Water also starts as light blue, deeper you go, it goes darker blue. So what if the next layer of space is just the depths of the other water above us? I don't know. In physical terms it makes sense, but also doesn't make sense from what we know scientifically, right? Now, these different games, right, we can spot it through the language here. And this is why, in my opinion, this isn't a game that we came here to play. It's more of a simulation designed to get us to do something, to get us to stay here and be occupied and distracted, right? You see the notion of celebrities selling out, or artists, especially musical artists, anyone really popular in the money industry, anything that's famous, right? There's a notion of selling out. Well, when you've sold out, you've sold, your soul is out, you're sold out, right? And that's why a lot of this myth surrounding selling your soul to the devil, because I think what's happening is the demiurge is trying to extract the spirit that it lost from the mother, or from the true source, to the humans by being deceived, potentially. That's how the story goes, right? And it's trying to regain that spirit back by selling material objects or material wealth, material illusions to the humans, to the beings with spirit. They go, they get to a point, and then they can't get any further on their own talents, and the ego gets in the way, right? The part of us that is not real, that is not true, and it wants to be at the top. But in order to get there, the gatekeeper comes in and says, well, you have to sell out, you have to soul out, right? So you become replaced, essentially, and at that point of the game, the demon has won, potentially, right? The dark side has won. But even in the angelic terms, it can be the same way. You start then going into the new age and working with these archangels or these masters or whatever. You're still selling out, you're still giving your authority away to these higher beings, right? These ascended beings who potentially have never even been here. They're in the astral somewhere, they're elders or whatever, right? And then the angelic beings have won, essentially. You're still just a chess piece on the duality of the chessboard, right? Or another example is a soldier, right? A soul dyer, someone that goes with their soul to die at war for the king. When you're war king, right, you're working as a soldier. So you can see it through a lot of these, and there are many more English connections for sure. And English is commonly known as Angelish, right, or angelic language, rather a fallen angelic language. And it's not the oldest even, but it's definitely the one that was specifically created to have the most double speak, in my opinion, right? So you're saying things like weekdays. Well, you're in a weekdays when during the weekdays. Now you're weekend at the weekend, right? Um, so these specific constructs have been designed purely to entrap you, to get you yourself to use it without knowing, right, in ignorance, and to willingly sign the contract, a contract, with your consent, to give it away, give your power away, give your spirit, and say yes, do as you wish. I belong to you in this game. This is your game, and I'll play it how you wish, right? And you essentially become a pawn or an NPC, a non-player character. But when you tap into that spirit again, do you fully come back into your authority, right? Now, it could be neither. It could be none of these things that I'm saying are true, right? I don't know for sure. These are connections that I'm pulling from, putting it all together to create a larger perspective, so that we're not stuck climbing up the wrong tree or the wrong mountain and saying, oh wow, now we have to go all the way back down because there's a different mountain that we had to climb, rather, right? So hopefully we climb to the highest mountain, see the whole perspective, and then we can make our own choice. Because if you do want to stay here, at least make it your choice. Have full knowledge of what is going on, full understanding, so that you can make a true free will choice, of a true conscious choice. Otherwise, it's largely unconscious, because you're just accepting what's given to you. And by just accepting what's given to you, you're never challenging it, and therefore never really tapping into your sovereignty, right? So when leaving this plane upon death, the first being that comes to you, you're like, yeah, whatever, I'll just follow you and take me wherever you need to take me, right? And even if you get to, let's say, the origin of the Matrix, largely known as the Void, and you say, well, this is it, sounds about right, this is exactly what the true source would have wanted for me, to just chill here in nothingness, and that's it. I still don't think that's it, right? I still don't think that that's all there is. A true creation would create autonomous beings that obviously wouldn't be able to overthrow the whole creation, but acting harmoniously, what's the word? Harmoniously with the creator itself, with the true source itself, right? And it could never be destroyed because you are essentially a part of that. Whereas in the void, it's almost like nothingness. But how can something come out of nothing? It's more of an eternal something that can actually create a space of nothingness, which is a womb in a matrix, and a matrix, and a mother can create that space, that box, and say, yeah, you can exist in this place if you want to. And then whatever other something else can hijack it or do whatever it wishes with that specific potential space. But the whole thing is very hard to essentially hijack. But I do believe that, yeah, this Luciferic, demiurgic, whatever being likely wanted to play God, and it went and created its own game. And here we are, maybe we got deceived into its game, and now we're stuck because we don't remember, because it needed us, right? So that likely is a potential, because if you think of the architect from like the movie The Matrix, it's this being, it's this wizard, this dark wizard or whatever, from like even the Wizard of Oz, we see that, but it has no power. It just sits there and it watches everything. It was the architect behind the computers. And even Neo himself was a program that had already been there 6 times because it had to account for anomalies, essentially, right? And every time Neo came back, the Matrix reset. So is that also something that happens here. Every time a sort of savior arises, that signals the end of the Matrix, right? And the savior would rather be more of an antichrist, if you catch my drift, right? It would be more of a false savior, not even a true savior, if we can say that, because we can only save ourselves by choosing to leave, right? No one can come in and pull you out, because I still think there's an element of consent, and that's likely why the true source hasn't pulled us out. And we're more so sent a reminder to remember where we came from, so that we can choose to go back if we wish. But if we like the casino, we can also stay, right? So I hope that makes sense. Hope you guys can see something from this video. I'm not sure how it came out. All I see is the light blaring in my face because I'm in the dark here. But hope you guys enjoyed. Leave the video a like if you did. Comment below, let me know what you guys thought. Subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.